Alright, here we go. So I got the Horus Shizu tier limits, and I'm about to show y'all how crazy this deck is. This deck cooks, and I mean it cooks. Now, Mike, who runs Rainbow Bridge of Salvation and tier limits, bro? Let me tell y'all something. This shit cooks for the simple fact that you have to do so much discards from your hand off of King Sarcophagus. Running the transaction rollbacks, the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, and trap cards in your deck that can activate off of off of transaction rollback, plus the King Sarcophagus, like plus the Seti, bro. You are going to cook your opponents, and I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna show y'all how this kind of plays out. So this first match is to show you how you can build advantage while playing tier limits and using these cards. Now, typically, without the Horus engine, this hand is a brick hand. Imagine I had drawn something else, another trap card, and not this card. This is a brick hand, but this one card will turn this hand into a full starter hand. Now watch this. Let me show you. Boom. So rank King Sarcophagus, and I send the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. He, like a fool, ashes the King Sarcophagus, and then I just activate the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. Watch how this plays out. I now draw a card, and then I draw my field spell. Not draw a card, but I get to search for the tortoise and the field spell, basically. So then I activate King Sarcophagus, sending my transaction rollback plus Ghost Meets Girl, which means that on my opponent's turn, all I have to do is activate transaction rollback and target this card right here. Boom. My opponent cannot special summon monsters. Boom, just like that. So now my opponent can't special summon any monsters. I now have my field spell starter as well for tier limits. Plus, I'm going to have 2 bodies in my graveyard when I activate King Sarcophagus. Look. And then I can go into my extra deck, bro. Start summoning bodies, go into my extra deck. My opponent just quits. He already knows what time it is. If he was reading my graveyard, that's why he quit. This match right here does not matter. Didn't draw any King Sarcophagus, Seti, Horus engine, none of that. All that was just tier limits on this one. So I'm going to go to the next one. And I'm about to show y'all some craziness. Alright, here we go. So, in this hand right here, I got Seti, I got Destrudo, which I also have Eradicator, and then Hoppy. So basically, I can send Seti plus one of the other cards in my hand to grab the King Sarcophagus. All of these cards right here I don't need, but I can use this card on the field first and then use it in the graveyard second to get both of its effects, spell and trap, if I mill one transaction rollback on my turn. So let's see how this plays out. So my opponent is going to send transaction rollback to set a big welcome. Then he's going to activate one of his furniture cards to then set this card. And he sets one more face down card, which I don't know what this one is, but Welcome Labyrinth. He activates that, and then he just summons a couple bodies, right? So then past his turn, or actually he did that on my turn. So big Welcome Labyrinth right here, he's going to activate, and then he sets an Ice Dragon's Prison. Now let's read Ice Dragon's Prison, because I need this card right here back into my deck, so then that way if I mill Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, I can then activate it to get the advantage I was talking about and draw a couple cards. But he got an Ice Dragon's Prison. So this card says target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field, but its effects are negated. Then you can banish one card from both players' field that has the same type as each other. So what are we going to do? This is a water warrior. Okay. So boom, I end up sending right here a dark aqua. So they're not the same. So if he takes this card, He can take it, sure, but he cannot use it to banish this because they have different types and different attributes, right? He's probably played against tier limits enough to know this, so there's nothing he can do, right? So here we go. So boom. Now I go into Kid Kalos right here, right? So I go into Kid Kalos, and my goal here is because Kid Kalos is a dark aqua, I don't want Kid Kalos to linger around in my graveyard too long. So when I start activating effects, I don't want this card in my graveyard so he can use it against me to banish whatever I put on the field. So I'm going to go tier limit Kashtira right here, which is a water psychic. I activate the Kid Kalos. Boom, just like that, right? Start milling cards. Now check out how smart I am. Watch this. Watch what I do. So go ahead and grab a couple cards, and then I activate Medora right away. So then that way it forces him to get rid of his transaction rollback. So now he has to activate his rollback. And I'm trying to get rid of that big welcome labyrinth out of his grave. So I just get rid of all of his traps. He then activates the clock, and then he sets big welcome labyrinth onto his field. There we go. And just like that, instead of waiting around, I just go ahead and send Eradicator right away with the setting, and then activate transaction rollback and call traps. And then this forces him to activate his Ice Dragon Prison and his Dogmatic of Punishment. Now, he targets the card that I expected him to target, which is Kid Kalos, but this card right here is a water psychic. So the only card that I got in my graveyard is that's water, I believe, is Sea Supreme Mare and then Rhino Heart. But me knowing that there's no other type that's psychic that I have, there's no other psychic. I knew that if I put this on the board and then Eradicated him, he wouldn't be able to use his Ice Dragon Prison to banish this. The most he can do is pop this card with Dogmatic of Punishment, which is fine by me. I don't care. So he summons the Kid Kalos right here, and then I go ahead and grab the King Sarcophagus, and I go ahead and start sending cards. And look at all this shit. Look at all this advantage. Send another transaction rollback, and my boy is done because he already knows what that means. It's just GG's, my boy. Like, if you seen my graveyard, you know it's a GG's too. I had way more shit in my graveyard ready for this man. He obviously read my graveyard and realized he needed to bounce. So let's go to the third match, and this one right here is special. Watch how crazy this match is. Now I'm going first. Now watch how crazy this inboard is. This shit is absolutely insane. So I'm going to start off with Pearl Rhino. Go ahead and go Rhino Heart right here to send the Havness. And then we're going to go Kid Kalos to grab the Scream. Summon out the tier limits Kashtira. And then I'm just going to mill a shit ton of cards. Activate the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation to grab the Tortoise plus the other field spell. And then I'm going to use the effect of Pearl Rhino right here to pop this card right here that's on the field. And then I'm going to Eradicator my opponents. Now, when I activated that Eradicator, it was able to show me his hand and what's all in his hand. And then the simple fact that if I can get another transaction rollback into my graveyard again and then roll back him again, I can then pop those traps that I saw. So I then go ahead and activate King Sarcophagus field spell, and here's the beauty to grabbing the field spell off of Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. If you grab the field spell off of Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, you also get the chance, where'd it go, to grab the tortoise as well. I know I'm not tripping. I just discarded that damn tortoise. Well, anyways, you get the tortoise as well. I think I might have. Oh, I used it for fusion summon. But you search and get the tortoise as well, right? So boom, I go ahead and start summoning some bodies right here. Go right into Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, and I did see his hand, so I know what interaction he's got on his side. So I know that from what I saw in his hand, he can't beat what I got, right? So then I go ahead and go Zombie Vampire, and so that he cannot fusion summon with his Sheeran, I summon his Sheeran to my side of the field with Zombie Vampire, just like that, right? Boom. So now this is his graveyard. He's got transaction rollback in there, but that's okay. We're then going to go Descrudo, targeting his Sheeran to then make Baron the floor. Then we're going to go into IP Masquerena. Now, let me show y'all how crazy this inboard is. Let's start off with the field first before we even go into the graveyard. So this card right here really doesn't do anything on his turn. Like, it's mostly my turn kind of thing. But we got Omni Negate with Baron the floor. We got IP Masquerena, which will take us into SP Little Knight, which is a banish card on summon for him. Basically, I can banish whatever he puts on the field. Then I can reset my Baron the floor with SP Little Knight. I can reset the negate. Bro, what more could you ask for? Special summon negate off of Rukalos. Another monster negate off of Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. And Tier Limit Sulic. Plus Scream. So once he summons a body onto the field, boom, I start milling. Just that simple. All of my King Sarcophagus monsters are all in my graveyard, by the way. So I won't be hitting any Horus monsters because they're all in my grave. Every single last one of them. I'll show you. Look, that's one Umseti right there. I got 3 in my deck. That's this one that I only got 1 of that. There's the other Umseti. That's 3 Umsetis right there. Boom. And then the other 2 are both right here. That's all of them. That's all of them right there. So 1, 2, and then the third, which is right there, plus the 3 Umsetis. Boom. So whatever I hit is tier limit shit now. So here we go. So let's see how this all plays out. So boom, he loses his field spell. Oh no, not your field spell. Loses his field spell. What's the first thing I do? Boom, transaction rollback right here. And look at that. We popping. I tried to pause this so I could see his fucking hand, but this replay shit is trash. Now, I ended up hitting his Eradicator and his Crime, which is, you know, now he can't use that against me. He's just got 2 monsters, which I can negate the discard effect with this card. The other card can't really do shit. Not even worried about it. If he does try to special summon, I can negate it with this, but this is for the monster that he's going to try to activate. This right here is for his transaction rollback that he's going to try to activate. And bro, by the way, I got 1, 2 shufflers plus Fairy Tale Snow and plenty of discard fodder. For 1, I can discard 2 of the Umsetis because I only need 1 of them in my graveyard. So I can discard 2 of those, both of these Rainbow Bridge of Salvations, because they're dead. So that's 4 cards that I can get rid of out of my graveyard that I don't need. I can get rid of a Zombie Vampire. I've already used that card's effect. And then, shit, if I want to, I can get rid of this field spell right here because I don't need that effect. I already got King Sarcophagus. That's 6. And if I wanted to, whatever else I want to get rid of, I can get rid of Tier Limits Cashtira too. I mean, I can get that card back if I wanted to. So, boom. Those are very easy cards that I can just get rid of. Won't bother me to flip something face down. Right? So that's 7 cards easy. So I'm going to activate the Shuffler. shuffle back his transaction rollback. Of course, he's going to try to eradicate her. No, my boy, I negate that shit for Baron de Floor. He got no further plays past that. Like, that was his play. His only play. I saw his whole hand, bro. In the match, I saw it and watched, and it allows me to look at his hand for however long I need to. So I looked in his hand and read all his shit. I looked in his graveyard, read all of his shit. I saw 100% of this dude's options. And I had an answer. I had an answer for 100% of his options, plus some on my field. I only needed Baron de Floor and Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, plus the transaction rollback, and then the spell and trap pops. And then after that, it didn't even matter. I didn't even have to activate the shuffler. I only did the shuffler to force him to activate it, because he wasn't activating it. He was waiting. So I just forced him to do it. Like, here, no, you do it now. And boom, he activates it. And I just negated it with Baron de Floor. Once I negated it, boom, I was waiting for him to activate the card in his hand. And then I was going to Photon Lord, negate that, summon the other one onto the field. Boom, activate IP Masquerader, banish that card. Boom, now he has 0 cards on the field. And I have an SP Little Knight. And now, I mean, I could just banish Baron de Floor plus SP Little Knight. Banish those 2 cards off the field. They both come back at the end phase. My Baron de Floor is reset. It's a GG's, my boy. You feel me? I had it all figured out, my boy. This deck is too crazy. Too crazy. And I already know what y'all gonna say. Bro, what's the deck list? I showed y'all the deck list at the beginning, but because of how cracked this deck is, let me just go back and show y'all this shit. People always say, what's the deck list? I'm finally showing it, bro. There. And in case you want to know what this card does right here, because you didn't see it in the video, didn't really use it. Also, Hope Harbinger. Hope Harbinger is a spell negate. This card right here is a targeting negate. So this is a way to stop like imperm. So if you want to make plays with your tier limits and you're afraid that your opponent might have an imperm or an ash blossom, and you don't want to go into zombie vampire, this is what you can actually do. You can send 4 cards to the grave off of King Sarcophagus, and right before you go to make your Rhino Heart play, right before you go to make that play, you can literally summon out those 4 bodies. And yes, sometimes you will have an amount of materials, especially if you discard Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, because it'll draw you 2 cards like I said before. Plus sometimes you can do it off of Amseti as well. So it's very possible. Now, sometimes you can set up the negates that you need before committing to your normal C Supreme Mare or tier limits Rhino Heart play by simply going into this card right here, the Erratic Sky Dragon. You can go into that to stop like Effect Veiler or Infinite Impermanence, and then you can go into Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord to stop stuff like Ash Blossom or Effect Veiler, or Nibiru or whatever. So 2 cards that you can really use to stop a lot of stuff. Now, debating on which one you want to go first is up to you, because you might want to go into this one first, to prevent your opponents from just activating Imperm on this one the second they see it and preventing you from being able to stop their Nibiru. Or you might want to go into this one first to stop them from Nibiruing you, hitting you with Nibiru before they hit you with an Imperm. I don't know. So whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, either way it goes, you got to pick one. pick your poison, because you're going to summon out 4 bodies onto the field and then pick which ones you want to go into first, right? Also, there's something else that I want to explain in this particular deck, that if you want to make Zeus, if you're going second and you want to make a fat Zeus, you can do that with this deck. You can go 4 materials. So you can go King Sarcophagus if you're going second and your opponent creates a board. You don't want to activate any effects, any monster effects. You want to just simply attack, make Zeus, boom. You can do that. So you can go into a 4 material zombie vampire. So this card says 2+ level 8s. So you summon 4 level 8 monsters, or sometimes even 5 if you go into this card. And once you make that 4 material or possibly 5 material Rucolos, you then can go zombie vampire, attack with zombie vampire into something that's either lower than this or something that's in defense mode, attack into it. Or if you're playing against like some illusion deck, attack into it, boom, go into a Zeus that's going to have a shit ton of material on it, and then you could just wipe the field just like that. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. I'm kind of sleepy, I'm not gonna lie, kind of sleepy, but hopefully y'all